Giselle, I have a fantastic new invention for you. Invented by Angelo Carbone of Phantasma Magic. This is the Tasmanian arm twister. And I have a very rubbery wrist. Not lovely, although it is lovely, but rubbery too. I'll show you what I mean. Pull up my sleeve, insert my arm into the device. Now, Giselle, what's going to happen? We're going to twist up my arm. You're going to help me twisting it this way. Are you ready? Ow, 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 ouch. This is really hurting. Ow. Ouch. Oh, hang on. He's twisted enough. Can we untwist it, please, before I start to scream with pain? Let's untwist the arm.
I'm usually pretty good at twisting a man's arm.
I can only imagine, Giselle, but it's my arm in one piece. Let's remove it. Is it okay?
Good job.
Yeah. That's the Tasmanian arm twister. And you can do it too. Let's find out how. So, Giselle, how did we make our little arm twist up like that? In your kit, you'll find the box. Now, you have to kind of put it all together because it comes folded up. So you unfold it, put up the sides, and you'll find the one extra little piece you need is actually a little handle. Now, just before you close in your flaps, you'll find there's a little space on each of the doors to hook your handle into, and the handle is really going to help you with your arm twisting illusion. So, just pop him out for now. And let's look at the actual twisting action itself. If you remember, I pull up my sleeve, and I put my arm in, and you're going to hold on to your little handle here, and now we're going to twist the wrist. Now, there are two ways to do this. One, you can break your arm in several hundred places. Not recommended. Two, you can do it this way. You see, as your arm turns, Giselle, and it's good to have a friend help you here, your arm turns like this until it's back outwards. Now, inside the box, this is getting very technical, so play along with me here. You turn your hand over and re-grip the handle, so now you're turning this way. So you turn, then you turn your hand over, and then come back. So inside the box, what I've actually done is turn it this way so you can see. Here's the action. As your hand turns, you let go of your handle, turn your hand over, re-grip as the hand comes around. And you can turn around 2 or 3 times, and then as you're turning back to apparently untwist your wrist, you just reverse the actions, re-gripping the handle, letting go when the opening is away from your audience. And that's how the Tasmanian arm twister doesn't break your arm, but looks fantastically magical.
I thought you had a rubber wrist the whole time.
Actually, I did, but the box will help everybody at home. Giselle, here's another piece of amazing magic from our magic kit here. Uses a little tube, a blade, as you would say, a blade, and also a die, which is the singular of dice. A little bit of educational knowledge for you there, my friend. Now, what we're going to do, Giselle, is we're going to pop the die into the tube. Oh, no, wait a minute. Forgot that. First of all, we need to put the blade in to create a blockage. Not like a sewer pipe, but a magical blockage. Because you see, we're going to take the die, pop it into the old tube here. Are you watching close? Mm-hmm. Here we go. It goes straight through the old blade.
So you just got a solid object through another solid object?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And that's the amazing dice penetration. Ooh, freaky. Your amazing die penetration is made possible with your little tube. That's got a secret little part to it that you'll see in just a second. Your blade and your die. Now, the die is not quite as ordinary as it may first appear. The die actually has a special covering on it. Little shell, if you like, that fits directly over your die. Now, you can show it quite normally Just be careful. Now, when you set up your die, make sure that the spots match up. It's very important, otherwise something very weird is going to happen at the end. So you want the 1 on top, the 3 is with the 3, and the 2 is with the 2. So your shell locks onto place just as so. Have it with the shell facing your audience. In other words, like that. See how it looks just like a normal die? Actually, it's just 3 sides of one. Okay, now to the trick. In the back of your tube, you'll find there's a little hole just here. Have that towards you. So your blade openings are just here. Now, you don't need to make a big secret of this hole. It's just, you don't want to make a big show of it either, because this is what's going to help you do the trick. The way the trick works is you pick up the tube, and you can either put your thumb in, or you can put your finger into the hole of the tube. I prefer the thumb. It's just my particular preference for this effect. You can show your tube, now put your thumb inside, angle it towards your audience on a diagonal so that it's corner facing forwards, and now pick up your die and your shell. You go as if you're going to put it into the tube, and that's when you go, oops, I forgot to put the blade in. As you do this, what happens is that you drop the real die into the tube onto your thumb or your finger. You pull out the shell and put just the shell down, facing again to your audience, and put the blade in. The situation now is that you have the real die on top of your finger or thumb and just the shell on the table. So at this point, you can actually just lift up the tube, of course, because your finger or thumb is holding that main die in place. Now you're prepared to do your amazing penetration. Pick up your shell. Remember, keep it pointed to your audience. Pop it into the tube. And now it's a little bit of timing. Drop, and as it hits the blade, pull out your thumb so that it looks as though it's penetrated all the way through. There's a little bit of a cleanup required because, of course, you still have your shell in place here. So what you do, having shown the penetration, pop the tube back on the die, remove the blade to show it, and at this point the shell will fall back on top of the die there, so that when you lift off, you can show the die, show your tube empty, and you've just done an incredible die penetration through a blade. Hey guys, welcome along to the mystery of the Chinese linking rings. We've got Giselle, of course, and let's get somebody else. Alex, why don't you come and help as well? Alex, I'll give him a round of applause, everybody. This is Alex. There, Alex, that's good. The mystery of the Chinese linking rings, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4 little rings.
You can count, that's very good.
I'm doing my best, mate. Giselle, you get to hold 2 of them. And Alex, you and I are going to do a little mystery. 2 of the rings. Watch it very close. Give a little blow. And the rings link together, gang. Hey, Giselle, let's see if you can do it. Why don't you blow on your 2 rings? Drop one of them.
Wow, I didn't even know I could do that.
You're a magician.
Well, if I can do it, then what you can do isn't that impressive.
She's so cruel. Giselle, check this out. Both blow. Get a ring and a chain, and that's the mystery of the Chinese linking rings, my friend. Thanks, Alex. And now you want to know how it's done, I suppose, don't you?
Of course I do.
Okay, I'll tell you in just a tick. Okay, Giselle, here's the secret of those sneaky little linking rings. Your rings aren't quite as innocent as they first appear. You do have 1 normal one, then you have 2 that are permanently linked, won't come apart. And then you have what magicians call the key ring, which is a ring with a little hole in it. Actually, when you get your kit, it might be a little closer together, so use a bit of muscle on it and pull it apart just a little bit more.
You have muscles?
Yeah.
Oh.
Come on. The little muscle. Now here's the way the trick works. You have your key ring, followed by your 2 solid joined rings, followed by your normal ring. looks as though you count 4 separate rings, but here's what actually happens. I count 1, drop the normal ring, and 2, 3, to the middle, so quite quickly, so I'm counting them as looking separate, but they're actually together, and then finally, just dropping the key ring on top, hiding it behind my fingers.
So they can't see the little gap.
Exactly. You're getting very clever at this magic stuff.
Quick.
1, 2, 3, and 4. Now what you do is you hand the 2 solidly joined ones to one of your helpers. Now comes your sneaky work. You take the solid ring and you pretend just to rub it against the key ring. What you actually do, move my fingers out of the way here, is move it through the hole. So it just comes up, and as you're doing your rubbing action, you do this behind your fingers, of course, and then just gently drop. Ask your friend to blow on their rings. Let one drop.
And I obviously did nothing before because it was already done.
Proving you aren't quite as clever as me as you thought. Sorry. We then put the 2 together, and again, a little rubbing action, but pass that ring through the gap. So we're just pretending to rub, rub, rub. People give a little blow from your audience, and you can open them up. It'll be a chain 4. Notice how my fingers and thumb are hiding their little gap there. And that's the secret of the Chinese linking rings. Giselle, this is going to be fantastic. We have the little mysterious cabinet of Zanzibar here. And we have a ring on a string. Now, I hope you can see, Giselle, that that ring absolutely won't go through that hole. Otherwise, it wouldn't be magic, would it? Now, we're going to sneakily put the old string through the top of the box here, just as so. And I'm going to lock that ring into the bottom section of the box here, just as so. You see how that ring is in there, Giselle? Just as so. Now we put on the old front door, because it can get a bit frightening in there. Watch for an amazing piece of magic, Giselle. Now, Giselle, if I pull like this, you know that ring won't go through the hole, right?
I have a feeling it might.
Oh, but only if you put your magical touch to it, Giselle. Give it a good hard tug there. Did you hear that? Do you want to pull off the door there, Giselle? Let's have a little looky-see. And the ring has gone straight through that little hole. How did you do that?
I magic.
Well, I'll tell them the easy way. This astonishing little illusion is the invention of Angelo Carbone, one of Phantasma's own magical geniuses, if you will, and it is so cunning you could pin a tail on it and call it a fox. The prop does all the work for you. The ring's actually not going to go through the hole. The whole section is going to move. Let me show you what I mean. You set your prop this way. Little slide goes into the box. Make sure you get it perfectly between the little dividers there. Now turn the whole box upside down and you'll see that a secret little flap comes down. Now at this point, give it a little shake. Make sure you get that flap all the way in, shake down, and you'll find that you can push an entire section all the way down. The flap falls back on top. That's your whole setup. It's a little fiddly, but just play with it and you'll get it all set up because the illusion is so worthwhile. Take out your second divider, your duplicate divider if you like. Now you're going to say to your friends that the ring can't go through the hole. Now a really good way to do this, by the way, is to borrow a ring from somebody and just put a loop of string through it. It's a very cool thing because they know it's a solid ring. If you just use your own ring, they might think, oh, it's a sneaky ring. Use theirs, and it's going to make the magic so much stronger. Leave that on the table just for a moment, and now thread your string through the hole in the top of the box. And then you're going to take your little center section, again making sure that it goes directly between those little divider pieces, just as so. Now at this point, when you're doing the trick, of course, for your friends, you'd put the front door onto the box. But so you can appreciate just how clever this illusion is, And since we're explaining it to you right now, let's leave that cover off and let's look at exactly how it works. You can pull up just a little bit and tap, tappy, tap, tap. Now when you pull a little harder, the flap comes up, the section moves up, the flap falls back down, so the entire box has changed inside, making it look exactly as though the ring has gone completely through the hole. Thank you, Angelo, because that's one great trick for our young magicians out there. Giselle, this is your moment. Another one of those moments where you become the magician. Can you manage it? Can you handle it?
Think I can.
What I want you to do is to magically poke that stick right through the center hole. We'll try the other side. No?
No.
Can't be done, can it?
Not a very good magician.
But you will be any second now. Let's just tuck some little pieces of covering card underneath, just as so. There's one side done. And there's the other side. Giselle, take your little stick and let's see if we can do it now. Did you do it?
Yeah.
Giselle has become a magician yet again. You've penetrated it. Pull out your little stick, Giselle. Let's remove those little pieces of paper, just as so. And we'll discover, as you try again, that it really was magic after all. And that's your magical penetration thingy. Yikes. The secret of your little mystery mirror penetration isn't, of course, real magic. It's all to do when you put in your little pieces of cardboard. What you'll find, oh, by the way, little professional tip for you. I always like to put a little hole straight into the cardboard first of all, rather than trying to shove things. It just makes it look so much smoother when you do your magic. You'll find that when you put your cardboard into one side, that you'll hear a little click. And what that means is, using your fingers, you can actually move the mirror, just as so. Let's take out the cardboard so you can see this very clearly behind my thumb there. See what's happening? A little secret hole comes into play. So now when you've got the cards in place, you can push something through. When you pull the cards out, you simply click it back down and it will lock into place. So now you can give it to your friends to examine, and there's no way they can do the magical effect you've just done. Another tiny professional tip for you, always bend up one corner of your little sections there, so that when you pop them into the mirror here, when you come to take them out, rather than having to scuffle and mess around with it, you just go for the bent up corner and pull it straight out. And that's how you can do an amazing magical penetration through a solid for your friends. Now, Giselle, everybody loves bubbles, right? Fantastic. Would you like to try and blow a bubble or two?
I would love to try.
Here's Giselle, professional bubble blower, my friends. Let's see what we get. Oh, try one more time. See if we can get some. You need to get some of that liquid in there, Giselle. This isn't the magic bit. Oh, now that's. Well, that really is a magical bubble. How did you do that?
I have no idea, but I am impressed.
You know, just give it another little blow. Oh, it's gone. Now, the amazing bubble effect is fantastic because it's one of the things a real magician might be able to do. Take something so fragile as a bubble and yet turn it into something completely solid, only to have it vanish all over again. Here's how it's done. Your little bubble bottle is not quite so innocent as it first appears. It actually has no bottom to it, completely open right here. Now what you need to do is take your little special canister and fill it with some of your favorite bubble making mixture, some soapy liquid of some kind, and we pop that into your special little bubble bottle. What this does, it leaves a space at the bottom to put your solid bubble. Of course, you need to put your little blower into the lid just as so, and you're all set to go. When you bring out your bottle, your little finger is going to be underneath, holding the ball, or your bubble if you like, in place. As you come across to your other hand, you let the ball fall out into your fingers, just as so. It's just going to fall out onto your fingers. Magicians would call this finger palming, but it really is, don't be frightened by the expression, it just means hold it in your hand with the back of your hand to your audience so they can't see it. You can either get a friend now or yourself to blow some bubbles. As the bubbles are floating around, put down your bottle and reach towards one of the bubbles. Now, of course, it's going to burst, so a little bit of timing is in order here. As you reach for the bubble and you just get to it, roll your thumb to bring your solid bubble into view right at the moment that bubble pops. So it would be pop, just as so. And it looks exactly as though you've caught a bubble and turned it into something quite solid. Now we're going to vanish it. Of course, you don't have to vanish it. You could finish right there, and it's pretty strong. But I always like to vanish it at the end. And we're going to use a magician's technique called the French drop. Here's what happens. It's going to look as though you take the ball, or bubble, into your right hand. Like this. That's the action you're going to duplicate. What actually happens is as you reach, your right hand comes in, and you allow the ball to fall back into that finger palm position. So as you come in, the ball falls into finger palm position as you pretend to take it. Now your hand turns outwards, and this hand turns as so, and your finger points to your hand. Now don't have your hand held close up tight like this. You want to pretend that the ball is in your hand, so just curl your fingers a little bit so it looks as though you could be holding the ball. This finger is pointing, and at that point you go, and your solid bubble has melted away by the French drop vanish. So you can turn a fragile object into a solid one and vanish it, making you an amazing magician.
Hey guys, do you all like card tricks?
Yes!
Everybody loves card tricks, and I'm going to do a really good one for you right here and right now. We have a deck of playing cards. As you can see, they're all different, all mixed up. I'm going to ask Sophie, right? This is the great Sophie, everybody. I'm going to ask Sophie to touch the back of any card you like, Sophie. Just touch one. That one?
Yes.
Let's have a little look. See? You remember it? Everybody gets to see it? Okay. Now, Sophie, we'll put the deck back together. Wiggle my fingers over the top. Little magic thing going on there, my friends. And I'm going to try and tut straight to your card. That would be a good trick. See if I can do it. Did I get it?
Yeah. Wow.
I always get it. But you know, Sophie, do you think you could do it? Let's try it. Let's cut out 1, 2, 3. Oh, you're a woman of danger. Let's make 4 piles. And I want you to touch any pile you like, Sophie. Anyone. That one, you sure?
Yep.
How long have you been doing magic, Sophie?
4 years.
4 years. Well, you're getting pretty good at it, my friend. She
Wow.
got the card. That's great. You know, Sophie, how we do that? I cheat. I cheat because I can make these cards with one little snap of my fingers all look like the 5 of hearts.
Oh my God.
Now, that's weird. A little weird. So before we all get too frightened, let's snap our fingers over the deck and turn the cards back to just a normal deck of cards. And that's the Phantom deck. Okay, so we're here with the delightful Giselle and daring Danny. Danny, this is Giselle.
Nice to meet you. Giselle.
It's nice to meet you, Danny.
Can I call you G?
Yes, you can, but you can't, Simon. You gotta
Okay.
call me Giselle.
Okay, so we've got G, D, and me in 3D. And we'll have a cup of tea. Now, here's the explanation of your phantom deck. When you open the deck, you'll find there are some extra cards. These are special little joke funny cards. Don't worry, your instructions will tell you how to play tricks with those.
So you're not clever enough to teach us?
Oh, well, I am. I'm very clever, Giselle, but I haven't got 4.5 hours here. So, here's the secret of your phantom deck. The cards look quite normal, but in fact, they've been cunningly treated with a special coating that allows them to stick together in pairs.
Cool.
And behind each and every normal card, you'll find there's a 5 of hearts. So when you spread through the cards, not too lightly, not too heavy, you'll find that it looks just like a normal deck. Turn them face down, and because the cards are spreading in pairs, it doesn't matter which card they touch, it'll always automatically be a 5 of hearts. Now, the 5 of hearts are also slightly shorter than the other cards. So that means when you run your thumb up the back of the deck with the deck face up in your hand, you can always cut a 5 of hearts.
Awesome.
Our first little trick. Cut a normal card to the bottom. Do that by just turning the deck face down. And cut out 4 piles. Do it by running your thumb up the back. Now, this time it doesn't matter which pile they pick, because on top of each and every pile, there's automatically a 5 of hearts. For our grand finale, we put the deck back together, run our thumb up the back, cut a 5 of hearts to the front. Hold the cards with the 5 of hearts into your palm, and now just run your thumb along the top, and each and every card will look like a 5 of hearts.
Wow.
Grand finale time, as you cut a card to the bottom, spread them out, and show it's just a normal deck of cards. Although, of course, we all know now it's not a normal deck of cards, it's actually the phantom deck.
That was great, Simon, but I think Danny might do a better job. What do you
Thanks,
think?
G.
No problem, D.
I'm being fired.
Giselle, this is one of the oldest tricks in magic. And you're going to do some of it too. Can you handle it?
I think I can.
Giselle can handle the awesome responsibility of the cups and the little balls. We have 3 little balls, Giselle. We also have 3 little cups. I'm going to take 1 ball, pop it on the center cup. I'll cover it with a cup, cover it with a cup. Give it 2 taps. 1 hot, 1 cold. Oh, be still my beating heart. I love that joke. Do you know what happened, Giselle? The ball penetrated straight through to underneath. Let's do it again. Let's cover that little center ball. Let's pick up a little ball. A drop, 2 taps. What are they?
Hot and cold?
And that ball penetrates straight through. Now, Giselle, you get to do the last one, and the last one is the hardest one of all. I want you to take 1 cup and pop it on top. Great. Take the ball, pop that on top. Take the last cup, pop that on top. This has never been achieved by anybody before. You are going to be the Olympian ball-through-cuppy person. Nobody's ever tried to go through 2 cups before. Give it a little tap.
Little magic wiggle or a tap?
Your choice, Giselle. Your choice. Oh, it's the famed Giselle magic wiggle followed by a tap or 2. That's got to have worked. Let's have a little looky see, Giselle, and there, all 3 balls have penetrated through the cups. And that's the mystery of the cups and balls.
I'm really good.
I don't know how she did that. The cups and balls is one of the oldest effects in magic, and in fact, here's a little bit of additional knowledge for you can fool your magic buddies with. They do say that this trick is featured in hieroglyphics in the Egyptian pyramids. But you, with your magical knowledge, can tell them that's just not true. It was actually just a game played with cups and balls that the Egyptians did. It is still, though, however, one of the oldest effects in magic, and one that the professor, Dave Vernon, one of the greatest of all the close-up magicians, said was a transition point between being just an amateur magician and being a great magician. He said this was one of the cornerstones of being a great magician. However, luckily for you, it's easy to do. Let's look at your props. You have 3 little balls, 3 little cups. But that's not the only thing you have. You actually have 1 extra ball that's going to do the magic for you. Here's how you set it up. Take 1 cup, put it inside another cup. take your little sneaky extra ball, pop that into the cup. Finally, the last cup goes on top. That means in the center cup, you have a ball hidden right inside, just as so. Now you're going to lay out your cups. You bring out your props and have the cups stacked. The 3 balls go out, and you're going to lay out the cups. You hold them in the left hand, your thumb at the back, fingers at the front. You're now going to take the bottom cup with your right hand coming in underneath. Right hand comes in underneath. It's going to take off that bottom cup and just turn it and put it down. The action is very simple. It's the action you're going to duplicate with the next cup. Even though there's a hidden ball inside, a little scientific principle called inertia, you don't need to know what that is going to keep that ball in place. So cup number 1 goes down, cup number 2 goes down, cup number 3 goes down. The ball is already under that center cup. Here's an extra little professional tip for you though. You notice it looked as though all the cups were empty when I showed them to you, even though there's a secret ball in that middle cup. Here's how you do that. You see, I show the inside of the top cup to be empty. Then I take the bottom cup, turning it upside down. I show the inside of the top cup again, then take the next cup. Finally show the inside of that top cup one last time. It looks as though I've shown you 3 empty cups, whereas in fact what I've done is shown you 1 cup to be empty 3 times. Just a nice little touch on the effect. Remember, you actually now have a secret ball under the bottom cup. Place 1 ball on the center cup, cover it with the other 2, do your little tap line or your magic wiggle line, which is Giselle's favorite, lift up, and it looks as though the ball is penetrated. Here's the cool bit though. You've actually set a ball in place again in the center cup. So now you can repeat the action, just turning the cups down, take a ball, put it on the center cup, cover it with the other 2 cups, a little tap, boom, and now it looks as though the ball has penetrated again. The third one is going to be identical, but when you're doing magic like this, you want to build to a climatic point, make it seem more and more difficult so your audience goes crazy. So all you're going to do this time is make them do the magic. So exactly as before, you load your secret ball under the center cup. You ask a member of your audience to put a cup on top of a cup. Then they put the ball on top, and then the very last cup goes on top of that. You make this big build-up that this has never been done before. It's an incredibly difficult piece of magic. You're building this up to make them applaud wildly at the end of your amazing effect. When they're at crazy fever-pitch mode, you do your tapping, your magic wiggles, you lift, and there's all 3 balls. Now, because you placed it on top of 2 balls, another nice professional touch, you can take the cups apart just as so, and it looks as though the cups are casually empty yet again. And that's a simple mystery. Another great way to handle the last ball if you want to look like a real professional magician is to use a magical vanish called the French drop. Remember, we already have our 3 balls under the cup secretly. So we cover them up, and this time we take the last ball, and it's going to look like you take it and just vanish it into midair. Of course, unless you're a real magician, that's impossible. So let's look at how you actually do it. You hold the ball between thumb and fingers. As you come in to apparently take the ball, what's going to happen is the ball will be allowed to drop into what a magician would call a finger palm position. It just means it's hidden behind your fingers, so don't be frightened by fancy magician's titles here. You come in, you close your fingers. Now, as the hands come apart, your left hand turns away, hiding the ball between your fingers there, as your right hand turns out, and your left first finger points to the fist, directing attention here to say that's where the ball is. Actually, of course, the ball is just hidden in your hand. A little bit of mirror practice here to make sure that you get it just right will help you out big time. Do a little magical squeeze, the ball's gone, and under your cups, of course, there's the 3 balls. And now you can finish clean. They can grab the cups, they can look at them. Everything is exactly as it should be. As you casually stand back, put your hands in your pockets, as they go crazy, ditching that ball into your little pocket, and now everything is perfect. There's no explanation for the ancient and mysterious cups and balls. Okay guys, now you remember the Phantom deck?
Yeah.
Cool, well, here's a way to use it with another one of your special props in your magic kit. Now we all know what the card's going to be, but don't worry, your friends won't. So we have an ordinary deck of cards, and Danny, you get to touch the back of any one you like there. That one there. Take the card, show it around to everybody. You can even show it to me. Doesn't matter this time. Oop. Let's make sure that all our friends at home get to see a good view of it as well. Now we're going to combine your card with our special little box. Now we have just a little empty box here. And what we're going to do, Danny, we're going to rip your card up. Yeah, not too many people get to do that with a deck of cards, I'll tell you. So we're going to pop all the pieces into the little box, just as so. Close up the box. Oh, just forgot something. I'll tell you what, Danny, why don't you hold on to one corner for me, so that can be like a receipt for you. Now, you guys all know the magic wiggle, right?
Yeah.
Let's see a magic wiggle over that card. Now, that's a magic wiggle, my friends. Let's have a look inside the box, see what you managed to do. Whoa! Cards all back in one piece. Check that the corner fits exactly. It's exactly the same card, and that's a miracle with your special magic box.
Wow.
Okay, well, we just saw a fantastic torn and restored card trick, done by me, of course. But now we're going to learn exactly how to do it so everybody at home can do it too. You need your special little card box. Now, this looks just like an ordinary little box, but it's not. You see, there's an extra piece inside, an extra little flap that can fall from side to side. Now, perhaps the simplest thing to do with your box is to produce a playing card. You put a playing card face down in the lid of the box. That's the bit with the little eye on it. Okay. You put your flap on top of that. And now you can show your box to be empty. I mean, you can have it on your table, pick it up by turning it upside down, and even show your box very cleanly. Then we shut the box, give it a little shake, snap of the fingers, and a playing card magically appears inside.
Oh, that's cool.
Now, of course, you can also use the box to vanish a playing card. What you would do this time, start with your flap in the lid of the box. Always start with your flap in the lid. Put a playing card into the box. Shut the box. Give a little shake, a little snap of the fingers, maybe even the old magic wiggle. And the playing card has vanished. Because it hasn't really vanished, it's just hidden under the flap. You can also use it to change one playing card into another, which is kind of neat. There's so many things you can do with this little box. You'd put a 5 of hearts face down into the lid. Okay, put the flap on top. Now use your Phantom deck to make your friend pick a 5 of hearts. And you bring out a wrong playing card. Oops. It's the 10 of spades. The magician has made a mistake. Simply put the 10 of spades into your box, close up the lid, give it a little shaky poo, and their card mysteriously changes into the 5 of hearts. Now, that's a cool piece of magic. Yeah. What about that torn and restored card? Let's have a looky-see how to do that, which is easily my favorite trick with this little card case. What we need to do is take a 5 of hearts from your deck. Now, actually, your deck comes complete with a couple of spare ones, so don't worry, you won't be wrecking your cards too much. You tear off a little corner of the card, about 1/6 of the card, if you imagine the card in 6 pieces there. You're coming along with this, are you, Giselle?
I can definitely do that, yeah.
You can count to 6, can't you? Now, here's your setup. You put in your little torn-off corner, then you put on the rest of the card, then you put your flap on top. Your box is ready to go. You force a 5 of hearts on your friends. You know how to do that, of course, by now. You're masters at it. And then you take their card and tear it into 6 pieces. This is quite shocking to some people. You're not supposed to tear up cards. You might want to warn your friends, don't try this with mum and dad's cards at home. Tear it into 6 pieces. Now you pick up your little box, and just as you did before, you can show it empty, and put the pieces into the box. Try not to put them in one big pile because you don't want to have too thick of an area there. Just kind of spread them out a little bit. close the lid of your box, give it a little shake. Now here's the sneaky bit. Without them actually seeing inside, you reach into the box. Now we'll show everybody at home what's actually there, because you're now looking at the card that's all together and that little spare corner on top. So you pretend to reach in as if you're taking out one of the torn pieces. It's not one of the original torn pieces. It's the bit that fits the card that's all together. Now, that's seriously sneaky. Ask them to hold on to it as a receipt, wiggle your fingers over the box, open it up, and amazingly, by magic, their card is all together and they can check that the corner fits, proving to them that it must be the very same card that you ripped up to start with. Try that on your friends and they'll definitely go wow. And that's some of the things you can do with your magic card box, and you'll find plenty more in your instruction booklet. Giselle, do you know what I have here?
A box.
It is a box, but it's my magical, mysterious imagination box. I want you to imagine I bought you a fantastic present.
Did you?
Yeah, but because it's imagination, it's an invisible one.
Whatever, I'll take what I can get.
Okay, Giselle, I'll make you a proper present by magic. How's that?
Sounds good.
Imagine something you really want and do a little magic wiggle over the box.
I don't think you can afford it.
Well,
but let's try.
Let's see
All
how
right.
magical I am. Oh, I don't know, Giselle. I can afford a couple of bob. There we go, a couple of dollars for some candy.
It's not what I wanted, but
You'll take it. Which is the only way we can stop Giselle talking, by the way, is just give her candy.
you want one?
Okay.
Too bad.
Oh, man. The magician never gets fed. Now, your little magical box you can use to produce or vanish items. It's actually very clever indeed. You can open it, it looks completely empty. You can immediately open it and have it full of whatever you like. So how does this happen? Let's look at very closely at the back of the puzzle box. You'll find that the back end just here slides across just a tiny bit. It'll move across. Now, when that is fully in place and closed, the box looks empty. When it's clicked up and you pull out, it can be full of anything you like. What that's actually doing is releasing a secret inner drawer that's hidden inside the box. So long as that flap is shut, the secret inner drawer stays in place. The moment you move the little flap across, just as so, the box's secret inner drawer comes out, meaning you can produce anything you like. Here's how to handle it, though, because you don't want to be going like, oops, look, I've just got to move this secret panel across. No. You pick up your box and tilt it to your audience, finger on one side, thumb on the other. Now you can open to show your box empty. Now, all you have to do is just move your fingers around the edge of the box a little bit and allow your thumb to relax. This is a very natural action that your friends won't see. So now you just open the box, it's full. If you're going to vanish something, of course, now they're gone. And that's the secret of your little mysterious magical box.